Hey folks, David Stewart here. Time for your daily trending, June 2nd, 2020. Still, I'm squeaking in just under the bell again. Again, it's late at night. Been very busy today. Fun day. Busy day, that's how it is. And, had to do a couple things that had to be done immediately, and we're going to take up my time before I can do this. So sorry if this one is coming at you a little late. I will probably be up in just a little bit later to do a video game stream like Final Fantasy VII or something. So if you want to hang out with me and play some games, then maybe we can do that. Let's hop into whatever's trending and see if there's any fun commentary today. First one is Steve King. He's a representative from Iowa, and he lost his primary. Now, most of the people on Twitter are just complaining that he's a racist. I'm not aware of what he said that was racist because I don't pay attention to Iowa politics very much, and maybe it came out and it flew over my head or something. Whenever somebody gets called racist, I just tend to ignore it because racist just means poopy head. There's unlimited numbers of people who call me racist on social media or on this channel, and in fact they'll call anybody racist, as we'll see probably with the next story. So I just don't really pay attention to any kind of accusations against racism, but I do think it's good actually to have primaries shift. If a person's losing a primary to another candidate in their own party, that's actually an opportunity for the status quo, the inertia of the status quo, to be disrupted a little bit. It's very rare for incumbents to lose. Incumbents have massive advantages whenever they're in an election. This is very true for House and for Senate as well, but especially for the House of Representatives. So that could be a good thing, you never know. But I'm not into Iowa politics, so I don't know exactly what the people there are going to think about that. Next one, it's under food. Dominicans, but this is not food. This is people complaining that Dominicans are not acting black, or they're not identifying as black as in America with other black Americans. And there are Afro-Dominicans. The only Dominican guy I think I've met and known wasn't really Afro-Dominican. He didn't look very Afro-Dominican. He looked more Hispanic. He didn't look black to me. So this is one of those things where I just say, well, people's ethnic identities are what they are. If somebody says I'm Dominican and Dominican is their ethnic identity and that's what it is, and they don't really identify with themselves as being an American, black American, is that a problem? Can you draft other people into your ethnic identity because of their skin color, right? Do they have to be? Do they have to act a certain way? Are you able to pressure them to act a certain way because they have their ethnicity, which is unique and located on their island, and it's different from being, Black American? Do they need to come into the larger umbrella? And I don't really think they should have to. This is a funny picture, though. Sammy Sosa has definitely gotten a few shades lighter over the years, and I don't know what that is. I don't think this is just him staying out of the sun. So I have no idea what's going on with Sammy there. But anyway. So let's see here. David Dorn. This is a retired police captain that was killed, that was murdered by, I don't know what you want to call them, terrorists, rioters. They're killing people. So this is not something that is very pleasant to look at or talk about, but this is one of those ones. There have been some very serious injuries to police over the last couple of days. I know there's a guy in Las Vegas in critical condition. Really unfortunate and kind of scary stuff too. But that's that. Logan Paul. No one should pay attention to this guy. This is the guy I think that filmed a dead hanging person in Japan or something. And so I'm not going to give him any attention. And I don't know who most of these people are. Pat Robertson, I think I remember, is an old politician. It says, Trump's response to the George Floyd protest isn't cool, man. Who cares? Who cares what some old guy thinks? I think that's it. I don't know what else to look at, So police use riot control agents to disperse crowds in Portland. My sister lives in downtown Portland. It's very, very scary for me to think about that. And as soon as all this stuff was going down, it's like, we're looking to get out of here. We're going to move. Done living in Portland. I wrote an article on my blog the other week about how bad Portland is, that it's just a completely it's a complete nonsense of a place. It's a place that's a sanctuary city and has no immigrants because no one can afford to live there. They also don't. It's optional to pay for the train because they were arresting too many black people for not paying for the train. Obviously, like the disparity was towards black residents. So they said it's racist to see if people have actually bought a train ticket. And so now you just don't have to really pay for the train. It's just optional. That's how crazy that stuff is. Tense Manhattan Bridge. This is all, crazy news stuff. So you can look into just any of that kind of stuff if you want to. Game Gear Micro. This looks really fun. They had this thing called the Game Boy Advance Micro, I think, or maybe it was I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it was a Game Boy Advance. It was about this big, and you could really put it in your pocket. And it was actually very, very cool back in the day. It was a really cool thing to have because it was truly a pocketable, portable gaming system. Whereas the Game Boy Advance still was kind of bulky. I had to carry it around in my backpack, not really have it in my pocket. And even though this is kind of superfluous because after all we have phones, I think it's really cool. It might be a fun little item to grab at some point. This is a funny Game Gear here too. The Game Gear, by the way, was basically a Master System, a Sega Master System made to be portable. Kind of interesting. And then there was the Sega Nomad, which was like the Wii, or not the Wii, the Nintendo Switch, like 20 years before the Nintendo Switch was a thing. It was such a cool device. We all wanted one because it could be a Genesis that you could play handheld, or you could plug it into a TV and just have a Genesis on the go, or you could do everything with it. It was an amazing system. I thought the Sega Nomad was super cool. So that might be like a fun little thing to have as far as that stuff goes. So I guess that's about it. If trending on YouTube, it's gonna be news stories. CGP Grey comes out with the video. A lot of people watch it. It's usually pretty popular because he does these informational videos. How to be a pirate, Quartermaster edition. I haven't watched it. Might be fun. He usually has these pretty good little animations, and I saw this as kind of a trend setter, that he was doing this, and then other people started to do these info videos very similar to that. The thing is, he rarely comes out with them because there's like a huge amount of effort to do, which leads me to another thing. People are like, hey, why don't you like up the production quality of your videos? Like, okay, you're going to get 1/10 the videos if I do all of the edits that other people do. I don't have a lot of time to do this stuff, and so it's either I do 1/10 the videos or do like 1/5 the videos and then don't release any books or do any of the stuff that I really care about. So here's a big black thing. I really hated the whole blackout thing that they did today. It was just I felt like it was a humiliation ritual. Everybody was virtue signaling with it. It was a thing that everybody did it because they got in a crowd. Instagram, open that up and it's like, are the images not loading, or is it just a bunch of like sheeple posting black squares? Started as a music thing. Not that musicians have a lot to do right now, and then just became a thing. Like, everybody who's woke is going to post some kind of black image. I'm like, I refuse to get in a crowd of that. I guess I'm just too much of an individualist. I refuse to join in with dumb little virtue signaling things like that. And just a reminder, you signal virtue if you don't have it. Like, if you don't do anything, then you need to signal as if you would do something. And that's the thing that really I get frustrated with. And it's all over Facebook. Facebook is just full of people virtue signaling because they don't really, it's like they express their emotions about the situation, but they don't do anything about it. I think, by the way, like, what's his name? Logan? I think he actually showed up to Logan Paul. I think he actually showed up to a protest. So that's actually something, and that is something that I will say about both the protests and the riots, is that the protests, I mean, of course I don't believe in, I abhor the violence and I don't like that, but it is actually effective. It is actually doing something. It is making people react. Whereas posting a black square on Instagram is just, I don't know, you wishing that you could do something about it. That's kind of how I feel about it. So anyway, guys, that's about it. Time's up for that. So thanks so much for watching. Might have a stream on in a little bit because I kind of want to stay up late. Hopefully we won't have to stay up late for any reason. But maybe I will. So if you're up late or you're maybe in Europe or Asia, you can hang out with me on the stream, and I'll see you guys next time.